Let's begin an interesting discussion today. Good afternoon once again to all viewers, participants, and our esteemed list and panelists that are here joining us today for the event. Let me start by saying fashion, food, and lifestyle are always trending. And while I, as an individual, am trying to catch up, I'm listening to something which is called as workforce trends, another addition to my network frame. We welcome you to this interesting topic of discussion, beating the trends, beating the professional key skills of 2023 and their impact in 2024. Did we ever think that we would have workforce trends as well? But let's look at it like this. The future of work is evolving. We are constantly pushed to growth, productivity, and sustainability to meet the changing markets and the economies of growth. Even though 53% of Indian enterprises were unable to hire qualified, skilled people due to a lack of skill sets, the International Labour Organization anticipates a talent shortage of 29 million by 2030. That's a huge gap. The Indian workforce, on the other hand, is not yet prepared fully to deal with the rapid changes, and with more than half of the prospective professionals failing to meet the requirements of high employability. We have a group of exceptional and experienced panelists today with us who will share their views and exchange opinion on why skilling, reskilling, and upskilling are important for sustenance, and by embracing change, honing your relevant skills, and prioritizing well-being, individuals like you and me can position themselves for success in 2024 and beyond. With this, please join me in welcoming our guests for today. We have Mr. Yogesh Basole, Head HR, Sales and Service, Crompton Greaves, Consumer Electricals Limited. Yogesh possesses strong experience in corporate and line HR skills. He brings in 17 plus year diverse experience in HR in sectors with service industries, IT, manufacturing, sales and marketing organizations. His efficiency lies in IR and ER, and that adds an in-depth exposure to all the HR systems and processes across the industry. Yogesh believes in practicing high team building skills, transparency, and effective communication. We welcome you, Yogesh, to the panel.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
We have with us Puneet Jain. Puneet, Head OD and L&D with Me and Moms Private Limited. Puneet has been working on areas like skill enhancement, content development. He's a strategist, a capability builder, and a growth path enabler. Puneet holds a bachelor's degree in commerce from Delhi University, and with 15 plus years of diverse experience, he focuses on manpower retention, evaluation, efficiency, talent pipeline building, training, and growth. Puneet also happens to be a certified trainer from LSTD. Welcome you, Puneet, to the session today. Next, we have joining us is Poonam Agarwal. Poonam Agarwal, Director HR, BSH India Home Appliances. Poonam holds a master's degree in organic chemistry and human resources, and alongside masters in labor law and labor welfare. Her commitment to continuous learning is evident through her various HR organizational development certifications. Poonam experiences in managing HR functions across the manufacturing, consumer, electronics, and chemical industries. Welcome you, Poonam.
Thank you, Munira. Looking forward.
We also have today Ms. Beena More, Senior Vice President and CHRO, Bank of India Investment Managers Private Limited. With over 2 decades in HR, Beena is a seasoned professional and an expertise in talent management, performance evaluation, strategies, and compliances in HR. In her current capacity, she leads human resources, learning, and OD. Beena has spearheaded various transformation changes, particularly in company benefits. She is also recognized with awards such as the HR Influential Award. We welcome you, Beena, to the panel today. With this very diverse and dynamic team of speakers, We will definitely try to create a larger than life experience for our viewers and listeners. Let me start by putting forward a question to Puneet and understand. Puneet, do you read this statement, beating the workforce trends? And as per you, what are the top three workforce trends that today's individuals or job seekers need to be focusing on?
I'll be starting my comment with the statement that nowadays, though industries and all the companies, all the startups are coming with a deadline. This is where this skill enhancement or the skill question is coming up. So every industry is coming with a deadline. So they need immediate result, and the complete focus, the complete pressure is on the executive part, the doer part, and the employees part, and on us also. So there are two people, those who are working in all the companies. There are strategists, the planners, which we are into, the managerial level, and the doer, right? So this is what is happening in India as of now. So earlier 10, 20, 30 years ago, so the business started with a mindset that this will take some time to set up, right? So now the companies are coming up with a deadline. So that ideas are very dynamic, and all the pressure is coming onto the employees or the manager or the strategist. So this is what is happening in India as of now. And one more thing is happening in India, that down the line for next 3, 4, 5 years. So there are millennials, those who are at managerial position as of now, those who are strategists as of now, as we are in this meeting, right? So now what will happen after 3, 4, 5 years? The Gen Zs, those who have born between 1997 to 2012, so they'll be coming up on the managerial position. After 5 years now, they will not be a doer, right? So this will be happening in India after 3, 4, 5 years. So we need to think that way, that how to retain technology, how to retain the people, and how to retain the culture. So this is the what I think we should focus on
Very
as a
interesting.
strategist, as a planner. This is what my point is.
Very interesting. Let me quickly go to Yogesh, and as Puneet highlighted about the technology and the skill attributes. Yogesh, in your view, as a job seeker or as a person in a career mode, how do I cope up with enhancing my skills, and how am I supposed to be kept aware of what are the changing skills? I mean, skills are changing like the way we change our clothes today. So, how do you think that one needs to be aware? One needs to be upfront, and one also needs to be practicing these skill sets.
Great. I think we are in the time and era in the human history that what Alvin Toffler said about a future shock, which a book which would have read 2-3 decades back. And Alvin Toffler's quote resonates, and I remember it throughout since then, is that the people who would be literate in the future that we are talking about are not the people who cannot read and write, but are those people who could sense the trends, the inflection points, and have a learning agility, rather than you have the modes of education, which was a classroom, which was more a structure. And that would probably build you for one particular skill for entire life. So this era in which we are is an opportunity that I see. We have the best of the technology, what we did not have a decade back, a century back. We have best of the capital available, ease of availability of capital. You could set a business or take your career anywhere in the world. You could probably sitting here can take any courses from any university in your living room. So a lot of things have changed. So this, I think, primarily for business or individuals, one needs to really look at the mindset through which we look at our goals, our ambition, our career. And that plays a pivotal role in opening up to the available opportunities. Now, ChatGPT is something that you see is we few probably years before, we always thought it is an fiction, and it is so much a reality. I was recently in Japan, and I could see a country which is 50 years still ahead of India. And in my childhood, I used to hear this folklore, probably Japan is 50 years ahead of India, and they have bullet trains. On my last visit, I still feel Japan is ahead of India. But one learning I got from there, I felt India is ahead of everyone. Now, what is that look at? Japan, they have money dispensing, automation everywhere, but they don't have GPay. In India, you can go to a pawn shop and still exchange a 10 rupee thing with your GPay. In a country with 140 crore population, 80 crore and more people have smartphones, and they are digitally, a day was there, we talk about divide, but today they are digitally inclusive. So I definitely look at this as an opportunity. So a lot of things have changed in the world. What was reality in the past, the realities have changed today. Equal opportunities available to everyone, provided you have a right mindset. So with this right mindset, if we look at, I don't think the privilege is only for the few. The privilege is for the one who is agile, learning agility I'm talking about.
Interesting.
Who have passion, who have ambition, and you can digitally be anywhere available. So
I agree with you.
That is what my take on. I think being employable is being open to choose any career. If you are highly fungible, you can't survive in today's world with one skill. You need to have multiple skills, and that is very closely associated skill. It's not very diverse. Singing to dancing could be a diverse skill, but
right.
Within your professional domain, those are very close sitting skill. But the base could be digital awareness, digital savvy, and alacrity.
Right. So Yogesh,
that's very right. Yes, Poonam,
yeah.
you'd like
Yogesh,
to add.
when Yogesh was talking, I was just getting back to the experience which I had some time back. And I will say that the COVID has completely disrupted the way we work. And we had never anticipated that we will adapt working approach in a way which we are doing right now. We had never imagined before COVID that the machine services can be done without sending a service engineer outside. But then post COVID or during COVID, we have realized that that is possible, and how it is possible through various digital approaches or the automation approaches which we have followed. And that is the learning. And as Yogesh was mentioning about the agility and mindset, that becomes the prime factor now. Everybody is talking about cloud compounding, blockchain, machine learning, AI, IoT, large language model, Microsoft Copilot. This is the buzzwords, right? Apart from that, cybersecurity, digital marketing, data analytics, these are the words which people are talking about, and that is where is the future. Every role is undergoing a change, and if we don't adapt, we will not be able to sustain. So
that leads us to a very interesting point when Puneet spoke about the importance of learning, and Yogesh circled it back saying that it's about being more agile in learning, and how, Poonam, you have spoke about the digital agility in learning, which is what I think for today's. Let me quickly, sum up this question and ask B now. While we're talking about learning and skilling ourselves, we are actually dealing with two problems right now, and I think as an employer, and I'm sure you hire in your capacity across levels. What is your take on the skill gap and the quality gap? Today we still have at any given point in time, for most crucial roles in digital, less than 2% of the applications qualify. While on an average, statistics say that for any digital role, minimum 500 to 800 applications are received. So what's your take on between the gap of skill gap and quality gap? How would you define?
Sure. So I'll go back what Yogesh was mentioning in employment and employability. So we can have qualifications on certificate or on the profile of the resume, but then when the actual exam or the practical exam happens, people do not qualify. And I think my endeavor and request to the young generation is that, okay, fine, qualification on paper is fine, but then you have to have practical skills, the application skills. And that's where the whole endeavor is. So institutions need to more focus on the life skills, project skills, execution skills, how they do implement these skills, not just on the certificate, but actual learning and implementation. And focus more on the industry experiences, more project experience. That will certainly help.
Very, very valid points, I think, Poonam. With that, Puneet, let me understand from you, while we are talking about, so much of learning and skilling at our end, how do you see adaptability of this skilling to the various roles that one performs? So if I'm in an individual contributor role and aiming for a leadership role, or if I'm in a leadership role and aiming for a strategist role, how should one constantly keep matching their skills to the role set? Do you see that apart from learning these skill sets, is there anything else that an individual today needs to focus on? While earlier technical qualification or competencies were given and functional competencies were the only importance given. So, for example, an accountant needs to be very good at his accountancy proficiency. He need not be a good speaker. He need not be a good collaborator. He need not be a good leader. But today, I don't think that's acceptable. So even an accountant
that day also we were discussing the same point, right? Now, being an HR professional, we are doing the best possible thing which we can do to evaluate all the stuff, all the candidates, so that we can get the right people on board. The situation remains same. We all are struggling with the attrition, right? We all are struggling with getting the right people on board. So in my view, there are three word phrase, that is mool chool parivartan. So that is what is required at organization level, that is what required at technological level, that is what is required at cultural level. That is mool chool parivartan, bottom to top. So that is what is required, right? Now the second point is people are coming up with the skill. That day also we were discussing that there are functional skills, organization skills, behavioral skills, and the leadership skills. So we are evaluating everyone on the skill level, right, which are required to handle the outer world, be it communication skill, be it people handling skill, be it anything. Whatever skills we are evaluating in a candidate, that will help an individual to handle the outer world. But people are still leaving the organization, no matter what skill they have, how good they are at their work, still they are leaving, and we are not able to retain them. What is the reason? The very first reason, which I understand, which I sense and I experience, the lack of patience, which I understood, because there are two roles working in the organization: the planner, the strategist, and all, and the doer, the executive part, those who are responsible to execute the process. So one is process, one is outcome. We are responsible for the outcome, and there are people, those who are working for the process, those who are responsible for the process, right? So lack of patience, which I experience in the Gen Zs, the young generation which is coming into the board, onto the board, the lack of patience which I understood. There are three phrases. One is Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Sangham Sharanam Gacchami, and the Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. We should focus on at individual level, that is Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, or we are focusing on at organization level, that is Sangham Sharanam Gacchami, and or we are focusing on the principle, the ethics, the values, the vision, that is Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. So I think an individual, there are certain skills which were required to strengthen the inner ability. That is what is required for today's generation. And हम उसमें बात करते हैं that time management is one of the critical skill which everyone should have. And I learned 2 years before that there is nothing called time management. The only thing you can manage yourself. So self-discipline is the key for today's generation and for us also to survive, not to survive, to grow in this world. Because for me, survival is nothing. We all should work every best possible thing to grow in this life, to grow in the career, to grow in our personal life. Whatever we are doing, we should grow. We should move at a certain point of time. We should not be still. Movement should be there. So for me, self-discipline is something which is required for everyone. So this is what my take on it.
I completely agree.
So hi guys, Munira,
Yes,
am I
Meena,
audible now?
Yes, Meena, absolutely. Please.
Yeah.
Hi, Bina.
So yeah, hi everyone, Puneet, Poonam, Yogesh, everyone, thank you so much for bearing with me. I think this is exactly what happens when you're talking too much of advancement, technology, and then we are stuck here last minute to figure out how the old grandfather days to the now, the technology of so much of, happening around works for us. But that's the way to it. I think the more importantly, if I have to recap and go back to the question that Munira has pushed across, to me, I think the learning and development in a certain way from what it was to the past to now, essentially, I think too much of importance has been given to a lot's happening in the digital environment. Okay, what we are missing out is the basics, whereby, simple unlearning and relearning skill sets are so much important to whether we talk about the people who had been, let's say, baby boomers or grandfathers and all in the system, or for the matter of the fact, the gig workers that we are talking about, because everybody is in the fast pace of, owning money and working on projects rather than sitting across and, having those standalone loyalty services across. So that is a clear mindset shift, I would say. And in a purview of that, what's essentially important is, while taking it from Yogesh, that we need to be agile, yes, certainly, and certain strategies with some take to the last words that Puneet mentioned, being disciplined across. I think what's missing out in the clear youngsters these days is a sheer amount of discipline that they need to bring into themselves, and the ownership in terms of whatever they are required to do, whether we accept it or not. We have heard some of these videos, a lot of YouTubes that talks about some mentors and coaches who have spoken about this, stating predominantly that there was an era when we were trying to achieve a good standard of living. So our forefathers have done that. There was a era of our parents who had ensured that they give a better lifestyle and make us more sustainable. We are here who are providing the amount of lifestyle and the stability to our generation at this point in time. And what versus our generation in the leap in future and now are looking forward is to ensure that they have a good lifestyle going for the rest of their lives. So hence they are not really keen on maintaining the foray of having a very stable earning platform. They need versatility. They essentially need a lot of diversity. While we are looking a lot of inclusivity, they are looking at a lot of diversity across, when it comes to job, when it comes to their personal life, when it comes to their stable income, to the growth income that they are looking for. So to me, I think essentially there are three skills one should adapt. I think the emotional quotient and intelligence in the generation of past, present, and tomorrow needs to be definitely developed, because that's ever changing. That's ever changing in the current scenario. Uh, Create the acceptance and adaptability to technology, in my opinion, whereby we touch based on chat GPTs, AIs, and all that's been performing. But having said that, the sheer importance that we need to keep, again, I'm reiterating the word unlearn and learn, is because the world is fast paced, moving across in a different foray, and here is where we have to remain substantial and sustainable, whether it is us or the people who we are hiring, or the people who are on with us, onboarded with us, when we are acquiring a talent in the system. So to me, what's most important is this point in time is that whoever comes in, whether we talk about children also, they are extremely tech savvy these days. So when we are looking at any trends or emerging trends, or learning the trends, or for that matter strategizing a particular program, it is different to each individual. The generic programs is kind of a little out of the way, to my opinion, because if we are sitting and developing roles and responsibilities which are different to each person that we hire or an acquired talent in today's times, then how the skill set could be the same across the levels, even if they are doing a simple job as a data entry job or a data analyst job. There are many areas where you have data privacy has been talked about, data driven decisions are being talked about. Hence, the thought process or the mindset change, I think that is where a lot of work needs to go in,
Right.
in my opinion, whereby, where we have these programs learning on a lot of websites and all, or so many e-learning tools are coming up. I think that customization is where we are failing to approach right now, or look at an eye. We are giving it more a very, very generic approach. And this to me, is definitely an emerging trait that one needs to look upon from a skill set point of view.
Yeah. So I think we circle back quickly where, Puneet speaks about the lack of patience in nowadays job seekers, and Yogesh speaks about the digital skills, and Poonam speaks about the agility and the choice of skills that you make. Let us quickly take a view of from the industry standpoint. So Yogesh, as per you, which are the top 3, top 4 industries in the coming years that will predominantly shape up the use of AI and data analytics, or rather the skill sets with those industries are more likely to kind of change and diversify, which becomes important for employers to kind of change their pattern of hiring, and at the same point in time job seekers. So could you highlight quickly which are the industries as per you where the most evolving change is likely to happen?
I would like to go a couple of decades back when the same debate was happening, when it was the PC, personal computer, and we were talking about that we will have a lot of unemployment disruption, and we should not have this PCs in our business. Okay, we again are talking today about AI, and if you reflect in the last couple of decades, I think we have evolved ahead, and PCs have become like a basic thing, not for industry but for all the individuals. We are educated, uneducated. So in the similar way, AI will be across industries. Now, I'll give you an example which comes to my mind of Blockbuster and Netflix. How a multi-billion-dollar business from 2000, 2005 sunk to bankruptcy in just a decade's time. And when Netflix came with and read the technology well, and today it is a multi-billion-dollar business. It's, I think, about maybe 50 to $100 billion business. So the media industry you can talk about will definitely require this. Then those days people debated newspapers are here to stay, but people are still using newspaper, but digital newspaper. So it would be not, I would not find it very limiting usage of AI. It is those who use AI will lead the curve.
Industries it is impacted is what
Which will, because it is about a processing, and there is a lot of displacement of skills also happening from people to the machine. Sure. AI along with ML, ChatGPT, that is the simplest thing that we see. Everybody using it. You may not require so much of basic skills that can be easily replaced. And any organization, any industry, if you see, they have got analytics as the basis of data is the king, human is the content is the kingdom. And to have a predictive analysis, to predict your business, the forecasting, and today we are in economy which we fondly called as economy run by consumerism and platform. So even if you are, say, taxi, as a word comes to your mind, that means you go out, go to the taxi stand, sit in a cab, go to your destination, pay there. But here today, the taxi is also governed through a platform. It's managed through a platform. You can order your food, you order your goods on a platform. So it would be limiting for me to say that only some industries will be adapting faster. Those who adapt faster will lead the curve. Like the example of Netflix, they adapted the inflection point when things were moving faster. Blockbuster, they were in a rental business of a CDs to a Netflix. There it is on your own palm top. So everywhere who adopts, it is applicable. It is industry agnostic. Whoever can adopt well and give better services to the consumer, because consumer is on the platform. He's ready to consume anything from the platform. So that's my take.
Let me quickly take this question to Poonam, and while Yogesh speaks about across industries, and yes, whoever is the first one to adapt and pivot, whether it's an industry or whether it's an individual, it's important to pivot in your careers, in your life, and in your workplaces. Functional wise, across industries, within industries, any specific functions that you see, at least in the next 2024, that is going to get fastest adapted or fastest moving and will need a lot of skill sets development by the new age entrants. We're talking about Gen Z entering the market and 24% of the Gen Z occupying the workforce by 2030. Now, having said that, Dan, they are considered to be one of the most diverse generations. Do you see that with them coming in, and if Yogesh says that across industries the impact will remain equal depending on who adapts it first, functionality wise, specific roles that you can highlight where you think that the change is more faster than the others?
So Yogesh has talked about industry agnostic, and I would say role agnostic.
Absolutely.
So every role is going to get impacted, whether believe it or not. And Goldman Sachs research says that 80% of the role will likely to be affected by 2024-25. And thanks to the generative AI too. So in fact, the technology has also evolved. Earlier, we were talking about role-based systems, rule-based systems. Then we moved to machine learning. Then we moved to deep learning, and now we are talking about generative AI, where we are talking about virtual human chatbots. Right? We started with simple chatbots, and now we have moved. So everywhere there is a movement, there is a change, and of course, we adapt, they survive, and they sustain. So when I say that everybody is going to get impacted, all roles are going to get impacted, all jobs will see their core tasks getting changed. And soon we adapt, we will be able to sustain that. All the jobs which are of repetitive in nature, transactional in nature, will be taken over by the technology, automation, digitization, right? And jobs which are in relational in nature, they will also undergo some change. And the jobs which are having expertise, are in expertise of nature, they will also undergo change. Every job is going to get impacted fully, partially, or maybe 10%. So this is the time where people have to upskill themselves, reskill themselves, and also be more self-aware, more self-regulated, more self-motivated to learn, relearn, more empathetic to the situation, new gen, more socially adaptable. That's a trend which is picking up now.
That takes me to a question to both Puneet and Beena, considering that India is still a manufacturing country, and we still have 71% of share coming from manufacturing, while services for India is the key to move up, where we speak about rapid urbanization, we speak about more jobs being formal. Having said that, Dan, if Poonam has to relate that, every function, or rather every transactional role will possibly become redundant, or will possibly get replaced in the near future. Do you agree? In my opinion, I kind of not fully agree, but do you agree that it is about the job that will possibly get redundant, or it is the percentage of effort and efficiency and the time taken to perform the task is what we're talking about?
Okay, so Puneet, would you like to go first, or should I take it?
You allow.
Thank you. So no, I think I don't fully agree with Poonam here that all the job gets replaced. His reason is because every organization still have some of the essential operational jobs which needs to be serviced by manual interventions. And technology is something which has been derived through the manual interface only. It has not just emerged out of its own. Science is exceeding. We, of course, needs a lot of data analysts across in the system. We need a lot of data science to be studied. To me, the core jobs that will emerge that in the industry is the strategy officers that would be required to ensure that every I'm not going any industry specific, whether it is a BFSI space where I have spent a lot of amount of time, or any erstwhile when I was with the Godrej and Boyce, when I've seen the manufacturing units working across. I think everything has got revamped with a lot of machines, technology into it. So educational awareness, people strategy, for which we need strategy officers in every unit and every facet of the departments. It is important to be there so that the right element of doing things are incorporated. having said that, we understand the Gen Z mindset, and the percentage of 24 that you quoted, Munira, in the recent Deloitte and Mercer reports that I have studied, it is looking as if 58 to 60% would come up to the Gen Z environment by 2030. I'm not talking about 2024. I'm looking at a certain number of years ahead from now. So in a purview of that, if I have to look at how the talent would go right from manufacturing to the corporate to your the usual labor workmen who are there, whereby we are seeing so many labor laws are getting changed every there's a lot of government is coming up with so many changes to the labor laws also, which has been like 50 years and ahead, like right from the independence we have been working across. See, e-commerce has emerged, and very rightly put across by Yogesh, where so many transformations, today at a click of a button, even our children are able to do anything that they want. But we need the cyber space to be protected. We need those
As per you, it's a combination where human and machine need to be more
collaborate.
What will be your views on that?
It is complementing, not competition.
So I want to continue with the last question of Munira, which Poonam and Yogesh have answered. Everyone is contributing, every department is contributing. To continue with Munira with your last question, which Poonam and Yogesh have answered, and some light Beena also have shared. So everyone is important, everyone's contribution is important, and everyone is contributing. Every role is contributing, every department is contributing in the growth of the organization. But for me, in coming days down the line for next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, so I think there are 3 departments which will be very critical as far as organization is concerned. So one is marketing, one is product development, and the third one is logistics. So these are the 3 departments. So these 3 departments are directly related to the consumer need. So marketing decide that what my customer will see, how they will decide that what to purchase, right? So in today's world, the customer finalize or customer decide what to purchase through the Google or the reviews or the rankings, right? So marketing plays a very marketing will play a very vital role. Then the second is product development. Now
it happens before purchasing the product.
Yes.
If you agree.
And in today's world, we are not in the world where we need a guarantee of any product. So earlier, 10 years before, 20 years before, we are looking for the guarantee. Now customer don't need any guarantee. They need the new product, the new field, something new. So product development team will play a very vital role, how we can give the new experience or the new product to the consumer. So this is this is department number 2. And the third one is logistics. In today's world, quick commerce is growing very fast. Quick commerce will grow very fast. So customer, as I said, that Gen Zs are not having any patience. So they need everything immediately. So now we need everything into our plate in 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 10 minutes. So quick commerce, like logistics will play a very vital role in any organization. So these are the 3 departments. And apart from this, I want to highlight 2, 3 more points. As an individual, we don't set any vision, mission, and values for ourselves in our initial stage. There are companies who sets the vision, mission, and values for themselves. But the point is, are the industries, are the companies are visionary enough to understand the trend with that what is going to happen in next 10 years or 20 years? AI, what is happening in AI and what is happening with Chat GPT? This doesn't happen all of a sudden, right? So there are companies, there are industries, those who understood 10 years before or 20 years before that this is going to happen. Digitization in India comes in 2006. Netflix was there in the system, I think, before 2006 also, as Yogesh said, right? So in 2006, digitization came into the picture. Digitization came into the India when Jio launched. I was in telecom industry in 2006, and we were living a life with 245 rupees, 1 GB data for 28 days. In 245 rupees, we were getting 1 GB data for 28 days. We were not in a state where we will be having a frequent voice call or WhatsApp video call. We were not in a stage. Then demonetization happened in the month of October in the same year. Then Paytm boomed up. Paytm was there in the picture. Paytm was a company, was there in the system, but koi nahi janta tha. After demonetization, it boomed up, right? And the whole game changed in India from 2006. So the actual digitization or digitalization, whatever we are discussing, digital, AI, ChatGPT, this happened after 2006 only, right? So companies should have visionary leadership, those who understand the trend, those who understand the customer behavior, that this is what is going to happen after 10 years, so that they should work that what is required after 5 years, not tomorrow. Now the strategists, planners, or the leaders are focusing that what is required tomorrow. So this is not required. So what is required? We should understand the trend. We should understand the customer's behavior. That what is required after 5 years or after 10 years. On that we should focus on.
I completely agree, Puneet. Thanks for sharing such important views. This also directs us while we are talking about job rotations and we're talking about job changes, skills. From an employer standpoint, Yogesh, if you could like to share some thoughts on attrition, talent retention. I'm sure we have a lot of existing talent which gets trained, skilled. As an employer or being part of a organization, what are few of the procedures or methodologies that you and or organizations today, let's put it like that, have been adopting or should adapt to ensure that attrition is controlled and there is talent retention?
Yeah. So where I am presently in my industry, attrition is normal at 30%. Okay, few years back, 15 to 20% was the normal. Today, 30% is the normal.
Is it normal or we are normalizing it?
We have no choice, but the ecosystem is such, opportunities are such.
Sure.
The multi-generational workforce that we are dealing with,
yes,
the disruption by the technology that it has created, and who is driving largely your workforce is not my age bracket. The Gen Zs, and I would still feel that overall manage the mindset in the workforce is also about not the lifetime employment. Earlier days, once you join, you stay there at least, and we had long stay award,
yes,
25 years award, 10 years. And now we look down upon. I mean, that's not an award that we would like to give, but we would like to give awards to people for creating, contributing. And today it's not a stigma that people are hopping over jobs every 2 years, every year. Okay, so unlike in the past. So a lot of things have changed. And I think we should accept that, first of all, the context drives the behavior. Okay, and if we miss the context, then whatever initiatives that you design, the principles are going to be wrong, and then the effects would not be there. So this, I assume that 30% is normal for me now, and I would treat that is still good, because there is a huge churn in the organization, and skills are not very proprietary today because technology is available, ubiquitous technology, and available to all. So it's not so specific on and the jobs that we have, we are not into NASA or ISRO that a lot of tacit knowledge drives. We are in a consumer durable industry. Most of the jobs are like quickly replaceable. Even the freshers can be inducted in a short time, and they start delivering. So keeping that context in mind, I would say, how do I handle retention? I would not look at who are the people who have served long in the company. I would rather look at the people who are with some following attributes, who can lead us in. We are talking about 23, 24, 25, because we are talking about the organization perpetuity and what kind of a leadership tomorrow that we require. So we are rehiring people very fast also. People who have left us 6 months back, we are hiring them back. A lot of people are joining us. Right? Yeah. Now, earlier we would not rehire people. Why are we rehiring people? We are rehiring those people even, and retaining those people with certain attributes. What are those attributes? As I mentioned in the beginning, who have high learning agility, right, who are entrepreneurial mindset, who have got ability to a high level of resilience, persistence, who could read the inflection points well, who are ready for change, embrace change, and obviously a digital mindset, what we are talking about. And of course, need to have some business commercial sense. So when I look at people like this, I think we don't want to limit that old norms to decide for retention or not to rehire people. But I think for these attributes, I would like to retain people. That is where I look at them as potential for the organization.
Yeah,
and
so
it makes a good
circling
business
back to
case.
the skill set, the potential, the growing, the learning work culture. In the best interest of time, we'll possibly extend with about another 5 minutes since for a few important questions, and we have a couple of audience questions. Poonam, reversing back to Yogesh's question when he speaks about the constant, exit and inflow of employees at the entrant level, which means this year also the new hire ratio for India has been at 36% average. Do you see that this impacts an existing employee or a tenured employee? And if I'm an existing or a tenured employee in an organization, then what are a few things that I should do to adapt myself to the new entrants, work alongside with them, not have barriers of traditional methodologies of working? So any important resources or trainings that you would suggest for a already working professional within an organization?
Sure, good point, Manira. So there are two aspects you talked about. One is that how do you take care of your existing employees and give them career internally so that they grow internally and they occupy the positions which are more futuristic in nature, and how we can do that. So for sure, the skill set, what is required needs to be catered. There has to be a complete tailor-made plan for each individual based on the company's requirement, also on the individual aspirations. And second is organization also need to look at what are all those critical roles or the transformational roles which will take the organization to a next level in next 5 years, 8 years down the line. Identifying those roles and ensuring we have the right candidate or a right talent sitting on those positions, which also is having potential to grow in that role as the organization grows.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very, very critical, right? At the same time, we have to accept that attrition will continue. The patience which Puneet was speaking is less in the youngsters. They would like to explore, they would like to change, they would like to gain new skills, and that will continue, right? So organization has to adapt. Organization has to become more agile. That how do we cater to these issues and ensure that our business doesn't get hampered. So some strategic initiatives to ensure that we have the talent pipeline in place, whether internal or external, will certainly help. And also enabling environment to the new hires is very, very important to give them the right environment to pursue their career and also stay engaged to deliver and contribute more.
Thank you. Thank you, Poonam. With this, we come to an end of an interesting discussion, and I'm sure we possibly can extend this for another hour, but we're respecting time for everyone here. We pause here and we take up a few questions, while I will request the audience and the listeners to please send in their questions, and we will shoot them back to the panelist, and you have your answers again. We'll quickly take up two interesting questions. Bina, one for you, where one of our audience is interested to know that in this changing environment, how or what are some of the methods through which I can develop my emotional intelligence at workplace?
Okay. I think I'll keep it simple and straight. I think self-awareness is one of the methodology that one can adapt to, because emotional intelligence is, to bringing that calmness, self-serenity, and at the same time, be know-hows of what's happening around you. So to know the other person or what's happening in your work environment, that particular calmness along with the agility, the mindfulness and calmness is extremely important. So I think self-awareness is one of the method that I would definitely suggest in the run. And I do run a lot of mentorship initiatives within my system with a lot of youngsters these days, because I understand where they are coming from, and how important it is to keep them upkeep them with their expectations. So that is one I would definitely suggest. Other is, the mindset to innovation. We already have a lot going around in the world, whether technology or whether the emerging trades. HR also has transformed greatly, and we are now contributing more as HR VPs to the organizational growth and interest, not the same old traditional HR mundane practices. So from that purview, as a professional, that I would suggest that innovations are extremely important, and those could be done through a lot of short e-learning courses that are available with us, and many of them, so the organizations to approach the methodology which engages people with these e-learning tools, whether with the support of AI, where we create some short contents at a more regular basis to infuse in the minds of people, to bring in that skill set across on the table for any level of discussions. And the third, not the least though, but I think succession is one of the very, very important element today in the organization, where while we have been doing a lot of succession plannings, but if we really want people to come up the curve and across, correlate the roles and responsibilities with the existing ones, it is highly important to have a proper planning and a different mindset to the successions that we are looking at. So, in terms of that, how the leading members in your individual teams and departments and functions do perform to that, whether it is through a mentorship program or through a skill set development to address and to equip that skill set in an individual, and to develop that individual into a successor at a later stage, where we're talking about not an immediate next year or two, but the next 5 years for the company's growth point. This is an important element one should be, coming up with. Yeah.
Very, very well said, Beena. Thank you for that. We have one question for Puneet, in fact, a very interesting question by Professor Puneet, saying that, in India, it is very sentimental to become a leader, a manager. Quickly, everyone wants to get into leading a team and managing. What are few of the resources or trainings that you could suggest to, candidates or job seekers, or rather existing resources aiming to lead or aiming to become managerial? Any mantra for that?
The only mantra from my side is Swaraj se pehle Swaraj. So self-rule before good administration. So this is what from my side. And the deep thought for an individual is, am I changing myself accidentally?
Yeah.
Am I changing myself incidentally? Or am I changing myself intentionally? So this is what the thought which everyone should have. So these are the three things which I should suggest to everyone, though everyone should have a thought on this. And there are a lot of skill which companies are looking for, so you can go for that. So to establish your career in any industry, like in today's world, we talk a lot about AI and this technology and all. So data scientist is one of the critical role which every or data analyst which every industry is looking for. So we can have something, we can upskill ourselves on data point of view. So this is what from my side. Yes.
Very well said, Puneet. In fact, a very good note to end on is what you spoke about. So whether we are accidentally or incidentally changing ourselves, and we looking at? I think some amazing takeaways from this session, and I'm trying to take a quick recap of everything. While we have the recorded version and we are live streaming on many platforms currently, but for all those who would have missed, you may be able to see the complete recording of the session. With this, we come to an end. I think we've ended on time. So thank you very much to all our panelists. Poonam, Yogesh, Beena, Puneet, such a pleasure to have you all, and I'd like to stay connected with all of you to keep learning more from you all. Thank you very, very much for sharing such valuable inputs, your insights, and largely for giving us this time today.